uh, that Market Watch is going to give you pretty updated news up to the minute. So the last news that came out here was 8:22. So usually the Market Watch is the fastest to release the news over here, right? So since I'm such a news-based trader, I have to have multiple sources of information for this news. So Bloomberg, MarketWatch, CNBC, Yahoo Finance. Now investing.com. This app is mostly going to be for the economic data. That's all I use it for. So if you see here, I have it as one of my favorites. You could see the economic calendar, and this is worldwide, right? So most of the time I'm filtering it out to just United States. I'm gonna clear this so I could focus on just the news for economic data for us over here, right? So see tomorrow we're gonna have PMI numbers. Now the amount of stars that you have next to the data that's coming out that shows how important the data is. So for tomorrow we're gonna be looking at existing home sales. Comes out at 10 a.m. Right? So Catalyst also use a Thinkorswim news feature. And that Walter Bloomberg, he's probably the best with the news updates you get on his Twitter, right? So I'm pretty sure you have him on Twitter too, Walter Bloomberg. His source is Reuters most of the time, and he's updating. He posts pretty good news as soon as it's released. So most of I get these well some of the news articles that come out I usually find them on my own because it probably pops up on my watch list and I see the stock make a intense move to the upside. I'll pull up the Thinkorswim news feature here because this is also pretty quick to update, right? So if you see the last week when it was 3:58, so you see on January 14th, this news right here came out at 3:58 p.m. Um, and it was updated in Thinkorswim, and that's when I decided to swing space last week and I made that big move up. Got that? Okay, so all right, so I'll if you guys want, I'll go through the rest of my apps. So I have Zillow because obviously I'm looking to getting into some real estate. I have the Discord, then I have Thinkorswim for my and then I have my brokers, right? So I have Thinkorswim, Tastyworks, and Robinhood, right? So these are my top three that I'll be using if I'm trading. I'm mostly doing my trades on my phone, right? And then you have Twitter here. I don't look at Twitter as a social media. I use it strictly for these real-time news updates from Walter Bloomberg, right? So that's how I get my news. All right. Now let's get started on what the webinar was mainly pointing towards. I had a request this morning on the pre-market webinar of how I can find out chart patterns. All right. So to begin, chart patterns are pretty much one of the biggest things to learn as a trader. You wanna you wanna be you want to be well aware of all the different types of chart patterns out there. So some of them that we can start with over here, you'll see over here continuation patterns. So just looking at these alone, these look super clean. Now it's not always going to look like this on the charts. This is just a template of just a general overview of how you want to see these patterns form. All right. So you got the falling wedge, bullish rectangle, bullish pennant, rising wedge, bearish, and bearish pennant, rectangle and pennant, right? So all these patterns over here, they pretty much they're telling you if a stock shows this kind of a pattern on this chart, it's most likely going to continue towards the upside, or in this case, towards the downside, right? So you guys see this bearish pennant and bullish pennant are both they pretty much both look the same. Now, this is where I tell you guys that the flagpole always makes the difference in this kind of pattern, right? So I see a lot of you guys have been bringing up patterns, and you guys have only been paying attention to the wedge part over here. Now, the initial trend that it comes out of is what tells what direction the stock might go, right? So if it's coming out of the downtrend, it makes this pattern, it's gonna most likely continue to the downside. Now, if it's coming out of a bullish uptrend, it makes this pattern, and then it breaks out, it's most likely going to continue as well, right? So one example from a bullish pennant from today, a big example. Now we saw this chart pattern over here on uh on Virgin Galactic. Now I have it as well over here on my on the on my slide over here. Let me pull it up from this morning. So I added it this morning on the breakdown right here, right? So we had space, potential breakout, and I put the pattern right here, right? So I need to swing it today. This one's a lot clearer. You guys see this? All right, this is how I saw Virgin Galactic today. Now, obviously it doesn't look too clean with the price action over here, but what you have to pay attention to when you're looking for patterns is noticing the peaks and the valleys, all right? So Virgin Galactic peaked once here, it peaked again right here and right here. So obviously these three are lower. If you kind of find a similar range for them to draw a trend line, you'll see that it was going somewhat like that as this upper resistance level. Right now for this lower part here, now the initial trend will be right here on this big green candle here. So you could draw that like this. Now you will go off of your lower support. You will find your support by looking at the values, right? So this part over here is the initial push up. So you're not really concerned about this. This is not part of the triangle. You can't do this. That would mess your pattern up completely, right? So you're going to be looking for after the push up with the stock, where the stock started bouncing off of, right? So it bounced once over here, another time here, one more time here, and again right here, right? So immediately we could kind of form a little trend line right there for the lower support level. Now with these continuation patterns, what you see on this bullish pennant is lower highs. Well, higher lows actually. The lowest points for every single pullback are getting higher and higher, and it's forming a triangle, right? So it's following this bullish pennant pattern over here, right? So pretty much what this represents is that after a massive run up like this, sellers decided to step in, bring the stock down a little bit, but the sellers have gotten exhausted now, right? So the selling pressure at this point, buyers decided it's a good time to buy into the stock, add some selling pressure to it. It pulled back enough. Now it's time to head back to the upside, right? So space bounced off of this support zone over here, and it'll continue to do the same thing until it got to today. Now, when we got over here today, we were looking for a breakout above this resistance level right here. Now, right at the open, it didn't immediately do the what we planned. But what made me take this trade today was that I was potentially looking to swing it above the $33 level. Now 33 numbers. So I was waiting for I was just keeping it on watch for the day to potentially swing it into if it closed above 33 today. But then around 2 o'clock, since I have the Virgin Galactic Twitter link to my phone, I got the news release that they were gonna do a test flight today on their launch ship, right? So now just because I already know that there's a technical pattern over here, and I get a news a bullish confirmation news over here right before market close, I decided to get in earlier, right? So now you guys see what happened. Once it broke out of this, once it the news came out and added to this $33 break, it gapped up pretty well over here before market close, right? You guys see that? Now this play right here, once that news came out too, it that's where I decided to enter, and this was about 75% return by the time it reached over here. Now since this is a play on a bigger time frame, so this chart pattern goes all the way back to the 4-hour chart right here. So I'm looking for a longer term run on this stock towards the upside, right? So now we'll find out tomorrow how this goes, expecting it to continue, possibly open around 34 at least, because we have a resistance level at 34. All right, so anybody have any questions on the bullish pennant continuation pattern?
Thank you for watching the video. If you really enjoyed it, please do hit the like and subscribe button for future videos.